I find it nearly impossible to summarize the life of Richard Joseph LaHood. There is simply no way to fit his full life of 80 years into eloquent words and nice sound bites that could sum up the story that we tell tonight. So this is an invitation. We invite you to consider the influence, contribution, and life of a boy from a small Midwestern town, born at the onset of World War II and welcomed by his Lebanese family. As a boy, there were those who would call him Snot-Nosed Dickie. I understand that name not only as a description of humble beginnings, but as an illustration of the generosity of a God who would take something small and transform it into something magnificent. He was in too big of a hurry to go to college because all he wanted was to find love, be married, and raise a family. Through divine providence, Dick LaHood married an American, not Lebanese, newly Catholic girl, Patricia, from the wrong side of the tracks. He wanted to know, love, and serve God. He pursued the American dream and vividly remembers the days when he was flat broke. But that barely seemed to matter for all the love he carried in his heart. In this man, the fourth child of Harry and Cecilia LaHood, we discover a prayerful man, a daily communicant for over half his life. We discover a great lover, a humble servant, and a prince of God the Father, fixated on the goal of heaven for himself and for his family. He is a generous supporter of the arts, of the poor, of widows, and of the church. And he is a generous supporter of his families, both large and small. We see an entrepreneur, a sharp businessman with a keen mind and a knack for numbers. But as we sit back and look at all that he has done with his life, we cannot help but wonder. What kind of fire forged a heart that could love this much? What kind of iron sharpened a mind that could invent and profit from so many business ventures? What spirit of exploration could log millions of miles? From where comes the inspiration to design this much fun? What kind of faith commits to daily communion and daily rosaries for decades? How could one even imagine having the Blessed Sacrament in their home, creating a chapel on a hill for our divine Lord to dwell with them? What inspires an artist and his wife to create film after film, video after video, in the hopes of evangelizing young and old? We continue to watch him work harder than anyone, and we are amazed by his accomplishments. 80 years, 57 years married to the love of his life, over 60 businesses, 12 children, 9 on earth, 46 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren, millions of miles traveled, over 60 countries visited, over 80 evangelization programs, the owner of 24 homes and 7 commercial properties. Those are the numbers, the words, but they do not reveal the man. And so, let us begin.
Dad died when I was 16. I turned 17 that summer. The hospital called me and said, Dad's in the hospital. So I walked up to St. Francis Hospital, 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon, 4 blocks from Spalding. And I went in to see my dad. And Richard, they must have had him medicated. I stayed till almost hour and a half, and I knew I had to walk home. And my dad, I just wanted to say, Dad, I love you. And then I walked home that night, and then went to school Friday, and he died Friday morning. And I never got to say, Dad, I love you. Of course, I remember staying overnight at the mortuary. Everybody left, and I sat with Dad for 2 hours in the room, and never got to tell him I loved him, and I did that time. I thought, boy, I'm going to tell people I love them. Never told a man I loved him, never told anybody. I never wasn't tuned in. Dad dies in May. I had my job lined up in June, and I thought, boy, I'm going to have to support my mom, which I never did in my whole life. I remember reading an I-2 program for the I-2 supper, and every single Lebanese had a business, a bar, a restaurant, a little grocery store. So it must have just been something that we grew up with or we inherited. But things were different then, and we opened a whole lot of businesses, and everybody opened businesses. I opened business, Freddie Joe opened business, Gene Corey opened business, Uncle Ed opened businesses. I don't know if that was something that was in our genes. I mean, so it all came from God. I mean, it's all, I know where it all came from, but I can't take credit for it. Worked hard at it. You learn from your mistakes. If we made a mistake, it didn't cost us $100,000. It cost us $300, $800 for 6 months working for nothing. And I don't know, we were so blessed. I don't think I ever did anything without discussing it with your mom. And our Father Hardin said, pray all you want. You'll probably never have a vision. But your prayers are answered, and God speaks to you, he said, through holy people and people who love you. I always was waiting for God to speak to me, but for 50 some years he spoke to me through your mother, and we never made too many mistakes. I guess I would have to attribute that to the example of the marriage I had between my mom and my dad. Of course, the example, my senior in high school, I wanted to get married. My brother Harry and Gloria, Catherine and Carl, Ed McMurray and Betty, having all these children. 17 years old, I just wanted to get married, didn't want an education, I just want to get married and have kids. Of what they're achieving, the love they had, I mean, I just wanted what they had. I was running Candy Cane, I'm 22. Opened in February, early in February. $1 to get in. I said you had to be 16 to get in, pay $1 to get in. So I got all the 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. Did very well. Gene Coy worked at the door. And we'd wear suits. I'd wear a sport coat, Gene would wear a sport coat. Johnny George worked for me, Jay Abraham worked for me, Bobby George worked for me. We all wear suits, and those guys were my bouncers. Caught anybody drinking, we'd throw them out. Well, Gene would always point out the cute girls that came in. February, March, this little girl comes in this big, and she said, Dick, go look at that little cute girl in the flowered blouse. So he pointed her out to me. It was Patty. And she was about this big, real skinny. And I said, oh my gosh, Gene, she's really cute. We don't want her to go to waste, so I'll go get Johnny George, because he was her height, and have Johnny George dance with her. So I said, call Johnny. Oh, Johnny's that cute little girl, Gene Fun. She's, we don't want her to go to waste. Go dance with her and get to know her. See, over the next couple of weeks, I found myself talking to Patty. And boy, she was a junior in high school. and I'm Big Dick LaHood, whatever. I knew after I talked to her a couple times I was going to marry her, because I just knew. And so April 10th, daylight savings time, that weekend got real slow. Business was cut in half. Didn't know what happened. Well, the drive-in theaters opened, and that's what everybody did in the spring. So Patty didn't show up. 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11, and boy, I was furious this Friday night. And I'm standing outside, just didn't know, upset my whole evening. And about 11 o'clock or 10 after 11, the car stops, he jumps out, comes running in. I said, Patty, where were you? She says, oh, I had a date. I said, where'd you go? She says, well, the drive-in theater's open. I says, well, don't you ever date again? She says, why? I says, because I'm going to marry you. She says, we're not even dating. I says, Patty, I'll start dating you May 30th when school's out. I can't date a junior in high school. And I knew I was going to marry her. I knew I loved her. And I don't think she dated after that. I don't know. So anyway, then a year later, I married her when she got out of school.
Proud of me. Big man in town. They think that I'm a rover, but my roving days are over. Someday your folks will welcome me. I'll be a big man in town. Honest honey, I'll be a big man in town. Promise darling, I'll be a big man in town.
So everything that's happened to me in the last 57 years is 100% the marriage. The blessings of the sacrament of matrimony. Some of our most precious moments was in 69 when we got financially wiped out. In 70 and we had all that trouble, and I'd come home every night and put on a front, go down and eat with Veronica and Vicky, and you were this big, and I'd put you to bed, and I'd go in the bed. I remember putting a lock on the door at the pink bedroom on 219 West Armstrong. In that bed every night for 6 weeks, I'd go in and sit down and bust out crying. And I can't take the pressure from the city, I can't this, I can't that, and your mother would pump me up this big, and I'd wake up the next morning and come home that night just beat to death. Sacrament of matrimony is incredible. I think I have to attribute that to my mom. Never had money. I don't know why Mom always felt property was the real estate. And if I got $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 ahead, I'd go buy a lot out there. I remember I had a basement house. And then I bought another lot. And I'm 60, a year after, during candy cane, Mom says, Dick, go buy some property. Uncle Tony, where should I buy? I don't even have any money. But the appreciation of the investment of property, Richard, just came from my mom. When I started daily mass, Richard, I had this dependence on God. The more responsibility I got, the more blessings I got. I didn't get independent. I just got more dependent on God. I got more helpless. Hardin said the greatest prayer on earth is the Holy Mass. Man, that's get up 20 minutes and receive a sacrament. So I take the easy way out. Big bang for your buck, 25-minute Mass. So I was like, bang for my buck, and the Mass is it. And I don't mean anything by it, but if Hardin says the greatest prayer on earth, and Pope John Paul says do it twice a day, take communion twice a day, I ain't gonna argue with it. Life's too simple. 100% the faith. Your relationship with God. And unfortunately, Richard, we had it all. We had our parents, and we had no distractions, and we had the nuns, and we had grade school and high school. And I mean, now, I don't know. Our kids are going to have a chance because Pope John Paul II said 30 years ago, the Catholic Church is the family in miniature, and that's where they're going to get it from. And the grandkids don't even understand. Somebody told me they're gonna see the day that the only true happiness on earth is doing God's will. I should write down 10 of Hardin's slogans, one-liners, and they are gospel. Let alone the Gospels. Today's gospel, I went and heard it, and I brought it home from the epistle about Elijah. It just blew me away what God bothered to do with all these his chosen people that clobbered him so he didn't know who he was. And they probably fell away 3 days later. They were so stupid. The faith is 100%. Your relationship with God is 100% of your life. And I don't think it's hard. Not hard for you. Who's it hard for? Anybody that knows better. The only true happiness on earth is doing God's will. What more can you say? Without the faith, nothing makes sense. It's 100% faith. 100%. Life's still tough. Life's still hard.
Tell me your feelings about giving away your youngest daughter on your 80th birthday.
I haven't had time to think about. I wanted her so bad to have a wedding that you had, Mary had, Veronica had. And I had. Look what happened in the last 3 months. No sacrament of matrimony, no nothing. And how can you ever make that up to her? How can you ever hope that it's going to be a good day? I've thought about all of that. And I know it's going to be the most incredible day. She's going to have what each and every one of us had. And to do it on my 80th birthday. It's just a continuation of every second or every minute of our married life. The sacrament of matrimony, and it's everything. What can I say? They're going to have it all, and every day will be better. Every day will top that day in their whole lives. Not easier, maybe not more fun, but every day's they're going to grow in love. They've got it all if they have the wisdom to enter the marriage according to God's plan, and I know they will.
from